Hello everyone, welcome back. I believe you all have rejuvenated for the engaging session ahead. We are starting with our first panel discussion, importance of CSR in building the nation. The first panel of the day focuses on the importance of CSR in building the nation. Dr. Bhaskar Chatterjee, CEO of ANIL AGARWAL Foundation, assumes the role of moderator, guiding our esteemed panelists through a discussion that explores the profound impact of CSR. Joining the conversation are Mr. Nikhil Pant, CEO of REACHA, Mrs. Geetanjali Gaur, Associate Leader CSR and ESG at Kyndryl, Mr. Vinod Pande, former MD of SBI Foundation, Mr. VIVEK Prakash, Head CSR Jubilant at Jubilant, and Mrs. Priti Srivastava, Mentor Advocacy at CSR Reliance Industries. The moderator for this panel is Dr. Bhaskar Chatterjee. I would request everyone, by that time this panel discussion goes on, you might receive WhatsApp communication by NextgenInnov8 regarding the same topic. If you have any queries or questions, kindly reply to that. Thank you.
All right, let's settle down for this panel. We're going to talk about the importance of CSR in building the nation. And I have with me an extremely distinguished panel. I have on my right Mr. Nikhil Pant, the CEO REACHA. I have on my left Mrs. Geetanjali Gaur, Mr. Vinod Pande, ex-MD of the SBI Foundation, Priti Srivastava, Mentor Advocacy and CSR from Reliance Industries, and of course, my dear very friend VIVEK Prakash, Head CSR Jubilant. It's a great panel and we have lots to talk about and very limited time in which to do it. So without further ado, let's cut to the chase. CSR in building the nation. Who actually thought of that concept? Why would you ever think of CSR as something that you want to build the nation with? The idea would have germinated in someone's mind somewhere at some point of time. If you cast your mind back to around 2011, 10, 11, why would anyone think of CSR as anything to do with India or its development or anything to do with, serving the community by corporates? Really speaking, an entirely novel idea. It germinated, in fact, in the public sector space. If any one of you were to try and answer this question, what is the date on which strategic CSR began in India? Can any one of you give me a date? Except for those on the panel. Strategic CSR in India starts on the 1st of April 2010. Why so? Because the first guidelines for public sector enterprises on CSR became operative from that day. The evolution of CSR in India is that we brought CSR to public companies first. And we said charity must begin at home. You cannot ask the private sector to get into CSR unless government companies take the lead. So when we went to private companies and brought in the law on the 1st of April 2014, we already had 4 years of public sector doing strategic CSR. And that really is the nub of the issue. Now, a couple of points before I move on to panel members. The way it was conceived in the law is that CSR is basically a triangle. Government is the implementer. Government is the facilitator. Government is also the regulator. Then on one side of the base of the pyramid, you have corporate India, India Inc., which provides resources, monitors and assesses. And the most vital link of all are the NGOs, trusts and Section 8 companies, Civil Society India, which implements, because they are the ones who are at grassroots. They know the communities the best, and that is why implementation is by them. This unique triangle, unknown to the rest of the world, is what Section 135 is about. And that is what makes the CSR law in India unique to our planet. When we were trying to bring the law, and you can imagine how much of resistance there was, particularly from corporate India. And in retrospect, that's only to be expected. Because why would government want to get into CSR? Why should there be a law? Why should we be regulated? We've been doing CSR for so long. I mean, let's get government out of here. If they want 2% of our money, we'll be happy to give it as a tax. But for heaven's sake, keep government out of this. If we were to follow that, there would have been no CSR today. But of course, India is much stronger than that. And we said that this is an opportunity, and this is the topic of the discussion today, for corporate India to be involved with the inclusive development of our nation. The whole principle on which it was sold, the reason why on that historic day in December of 2013, members of parliament cutting across every single party, me watching from the officers' gallery, Sachin piloting that bill, all the MPs spent 10 hours of debate on 470 sections of the Companies Act of 2013. But on that one section 135, out of those 10 hours, about 6 hours is spent on 135. And every single member of parliament supported it as a development agenda. Because we gave corporate India a chance to contribute to development. And we said the raison d'etre for it, the reason, is that corporate India has flexibility, agility, innovation, capacity to do self-correction quickly, and also the last mile connect, which government often does not have. And therefore the combination of corporate India, NGO India and government India is really that triangle which has delivered all the results over these 10 years. So yes, in the first round of questions, and I'll only do two, and I'll start on the extreme right, to tell us why you think, or what you think, is the way in which CSR is contributing to the development of the nation. But I'll request each of you as I go around the same question. Please do not speak about your organization in the first round. I don't want this to be an advertorial. We in X do it this way. Please no. This is a generic discussion in the first round about CSR, your thoughts on how it has contributed to development of India and how you see the future.
Good morning, everyone. This is a very correct question as far as the CSR Act is concerned. This came in around 2013, as Sir said just now. So it has helped a lot in the development of the nation, because what does CSR do? The corporates, they earn a lot of profit. Everyone earns profit. A certain percentage has to be devoted to the development of the society, which the corporates do. And what are the areas of development that India requires most? I think it is education, skill development, which leads to employment or self-employment, whatever, or entrepreneurship. So what the CSR Act does, one of the sections in the Act promotes skill development. And what are corporates doing? Skill development will come only if you are educated. And there are a lot of corporates who are doing that. So education they are supporting. A lot of educational support is being given by the corporate sector. And mostly in the rural areas. Rural areas, education is lacking tremendously. And fortunately, corporates across the country, they are also now focusing on rural India, not only in the locations where they are located. So once education comes up, then skill development, and post-skill development, it is employment or self-employment or entrepreneurship or whatever. The second important aspect also of the CSR Act is promoting or saving the health of the nation. That also we have seen during COVID, how the corporates came forward to help the society. Everyone did it. So I think these two are important things. Of course, there are a lot of other important things we'll discuss as we go ahead.
Thank you very much there. Nikhil, you were actually involved in the IICA when literally the law was on the drawing board. And you and Geetanjali were part of that IICA team that helped to draft that legislation. So just give us your perspective when you moved on from the government role to the NGO role. So you literally seen both sides of the picture. Your thoughts, please.
Absolutely, sir. And with you sitting on the right, and if your guru and your mentor is next to you, then it becomes a little bit more daunting. But sir actually beautifully summarized the whole mandate. So just to be very precise on what sir has just asked me, since I moved on from IICA last 6-7 years, I have been on the field myself and doing implementation, doing grant management support, and doing policy support also. Sir, what I have found is this, that the engagement of all the stakeholders that you mentioned, the government as facilitator, the corporate as the grant giver, and the NGO, the civil society as the implementer, I think has gone on to another level today. So when the law came in, I remember we were trying to convince the corporates that this is not another tax. Slowly they realized the value of not just compliance with impact, but also the fact that this hugely enhances your brand value. So a lot of corporates that I work with are leveraging CSR today in such a beautiful way that when they are bringing in their skills, their innovation, their technology, as sir mentioned, they are using it very mindfully from the board level. And they are able to transform their businesses as well. This is a very important piece that has happened. Second, I am finding that initially the government, when the law came, the idea was to sell the idea in the right way so that people can adopt it. Today I am finding when I am working in the grassroots across the country as I travel the length and breadth with my work, young civil servants today, and you are a retired IS officer yourself, and the way I am finding the young generation of the district collectors. I was in Arunachal Pradesh 2 weeks ago. Last week I was in Baramulla in Kupwara, and I will talk more about that in the second round of questions, as sir said, not to talk about your work. But since I am moving around, I am seeing these young district collectors, sir, today, who are engaging and coming forward to find solutions to their gap areas. That's what we began with. In many ways, the letter and spirit of the law is now playing out on the ground. When I'm visiting, say, far south in Tamil Nadu area, in Coimbatore, I went for a field visit for a client. I'm finding the panchayat engaging very closely with the program manager of this donor and talking a lot with the district administration over there. So the corporates have brought it very strongly for the compliance and the brand building. The government system seems to have gone beyond mere facilitation and the regulation, but to enhance their impact also. Remember, the government is delivering taxpayer money programs, and this is shareholder money. Now the next notch that I'm seeing today is a lot of young politicians who are leveraging CSR, and maybe that was not the case while they deliberated and debated it in parliament at that time to get it through. Today they are trying to develop their constituencies, sir. And they are talking very rationally with the district collector and many of the public sectors who used to feel very scared when a politician would call them. They are saying, no, please tell us, how can I fit in my program into your CSR policy? So somewhere, sir, I have seen that CSR in two verticals where I have worked personally, it has helped us to generate impact in difficult geographies like Northeast, like Kashmir, like other areas, remote areas. And secondly, if politicians and bureaucrats are leveraging CSR to also enhance their impact, like businesses are doing it for their business case, politicians can now go and seek votes with better CSR projects. So I think it is strengthening grassroots democracy also.
Brilliant, Nikhil. In fact, that's quite an amazing phenomenon. We had not, when we were conceiving the law, seen it that way. But we always knew that the idea was that CSR would help to complement and supplement what government was in any case already doing. And it amazes me, Mr. Sumit Dayal mentioned in the presentation before this, that only 1% of the total expenditure comes from CSR. I mean, the total spending of government and the total spending on CSR part is only 1%. But it is amazing that these are the funds which are the most sought after. You go to a DM, you go to the local politician or the panchayat, sir, CSR की funding कर दो. अरे भाई सरकार तो इतनी चीजें दे रही हैं. अरे सर सरकार तो सरकार है, वो तो आता ही है, लेकिन CSR का कुछ दे दो हमें. So it's become much sought after, much leveraged kind of funding, and it works well. One data point before I move on to Geetanjali is that Sumit mentioned in his presentation very nice facts and figures, but he got one fact wrong, and that's very important. He said the total number of NGOs are 1.5 lakhs. That's a terribly bad calculation. Even if you Google it, you will see there are 3.3 million, 33 lakhs. And he said that approximately, about 40,000 NGOs are actually working on CSR, but the figure is not 1.5 lakhs, the figure is 33 lakhs. We are the single biggest NGO nation on earth. Can you guess who the second nation on earth is after India? Quick, one word. Bangladesh. All right. So Geetanjali, you were part of that team, and yours has been an amazing journey. You moved on from the IICA, where you were part of government, and then you moved into the UN system, where you saw the international perspective, and now you're working with the corporate world itself. So you've seen a lot of. How do you think that what you were really struggling with at that time in bringing the law? How have you seen it playing out these 10 years?
Yes, I think it was an amazing journey of 15 years. And thank you so much, sir, for the opportunity. Nikhil was also there. I think I would say that I have seen acceptance. Because I still remember 2013 program in Bangalore. It was a closed-door meeting where all top corporate honchos sitting, half of them were not happy with the concept, few of them were struggling to understand, and only few of them were happy with it. They were considering it more of a kind of extra tax on them. But I would say the essence, the purpose of the entire CSR mandate remain intact. I mean, I do remember those interactions with you and of course within ministry also. When we were discussing that what is the purpose, we were trying to advocate ourselves the purpose of the mandate, saying that this is not an extra tax. In fact, I'm sure you must be remembering the first presentation when we worked on it, we clearly stated that, look, the 2% of the companies who are falling under this mandate, it is literally not even peanuts in front of the kind of funds government is contributing towards the national agenda or the socio-economic development agenda of the country. Then the next question was, what was the purpose? And trust me, the purpose is well achieved. In fact, I would say it's like we never envisaged that much. Because now I have seen, I mean, sitting on the other side of the table now, I have realized that corporates are not taking it as a burden anymore. Maybe they envisaged it that way, but right now they are taking it in the right spirit. The best part is they are not just implementing simple CSR projects, but they are focusing on innovative side of it. Corporate CSR leads or even the implementation managers, the NGO partners, all of them, they are, even NGOs, they are presenting the good project proposals which has the element which were discussed right from the beginning: replicability, scalability, providing end-to-end linkages, and aligning it well with the development-centric agenda of the country. So I think this is how we are we are contributing towards the development of India.
Brilliant, Geetanjali. Very well put. Priti, let me turn to you and
Yes, sir.
seek your thoughts on how you believe CSR is contributing to India's development.
First of all, very privileged to be here. Whatever I've learned, the two people here, Chatterjee sir and Nikhil, we are still in touch. I've attended classes to understand CSR as an individual. So very privileged to be with both teachers. So wearing my advocacy hat from the time CSR started, in the beginning, it was struggle for myself and then explaining. So firstly understood the regulatory parts. Now seeing the 13 years journey, now companies, and I'm representing corporate India, do not see it as a regulatory compliance. They see it as, you know, they have aligned their business strategy as per CSR. Now CSR is part of their core value system. When they write their mission statement, objectives and going ground, CSR plays an important role in the background. Even small implementation, even if it's a national corporate and you know they have to work at the grassroots level, even deliverables are, so that's a great mindset change which has come. Not only at this board level or management level, even on the employees. We all know we never had vacancies. There were no CSR professionals. So whoever was there, whoever volunteered, and I remember, sir, I'm still a volunteer in my company because I wanted to contribute. So like me, there are a lot of people who believe in individual social responsibility. So there's a whole crowd of people, employees and individuals who want to contribute to the society either through the company CSR or otherwise have cropped up. So that has really changed the mindset. Speaking to the NGOs, we have seen the gray areas of the NGO, but I think the clouds have gone and I can see a sunshine because they want to work as per the regulatory framework. They want to have, registered as a trust or a society, and they want to follow the rule, which is a great change. So I see India as becoming a world leader as far as social impact is concerned, because we are seeing it as CSR is becoming a lifestyle, not only in corporates, not only in NGOs, but in individuals. And India, with the young population, with so many youngsters coming to corporates, to Nikhil, I know, to companies, and saying we would like to make a difference. So I think that, for me, that has been a very major shift.
Brilliant, absolutely, so well put. And you know, in the audience, you will see that as each one of our panelists speak out, the perspective that they bring to the way that CSR has unfolded and the way it's contributing to the nation, how much of a realization of the faith that we had in bringing the legislation, and how much it means to us that it has unfolded in a way, not only in the way that we had envisaged it, but even beyond. And it's amazing to see that realization happen. There are 2 points I'll very quickly draw your attention before I turn to the last member of the panel. One is that CSR today is almost like a sector of our economy. It is not something where, you know, the keys of the kingdom are handed over to some member of the family, aap zara CSR dekh lena spare time mein. That backroom business, we brought it from backroom to boardroom, because the finest minds of the corporate world are today sitting in the CSR committee in the board, and the decisions on CSR are taken by them at the highest level. The other thing, and this really is something that is very close to my heart, the trust deficit between corporate India and NGO India. You know, in the Parliamentary Standing Committee, we used to have inputs from the civil society sector, from the private sector, and each would say, you know, there's no trust in them. They would cast aspersions on each segment. But today, and you rightly said this, a lot of innovation, Geetanjali, you were mentioning, are suggested by NGOs. And corporates have become receptive because they understand that there in the community level, NGO is king, not us. We may fund you, we may monitor you, we may assess you, but you know that community far better than us. If we don't hear you, our programs are, useless. Similarly, NGOs have learned the corporate language, how to present their cases, present their financial statements, present the way that they would like to sort of showcase their experience and understanding. That trust deficit reduction is a huge plus. So yeah, now I must turn to the last member of our panel here, Vivek. Please give us your thoughts.
So, no doubt, as you explained that after this enactment of this act, CSR has become now a strategic thing in India. But it was there in India from the beginning of corporate activities. So, like I am working in this sector since this is my 28th year. So it means CSR was there earlier also, and CSR is now also. I was CSR person, I am CSR person. So it means it was there, but no doubt it has become strategic, and now, as you explained, that earlier it was a feel-good factor, and for that corporate were doing, but now they are also asking for impact. And the way the act is now developing day by day, impact assessment is important. It means the board is asking about SROI. That is important. So, and it is giving us lot of energy to do something for the society, for the country. So now it is upon the corporate or any individual that how you are taking it, whether you are taking it as a carrot or a stick. So whenever you are coming with any act in any field, early people were thinking, okay, now government is going to take rid of us, and then they will penalize us, they will do, so we have to go for many compliances. But after a few years, people are realizing that this is for their benefit only. So I'm giving you example like for EHS, now ESG. So earlier when act came, many legislation came, and then regulations came. Now people are realizing, corporates are realizing that working on ESG is for their betterment, for their sustainability. Same way, CSR is for their sustainability. Through CSR, now CSR is helping corporates, especially those into manufacturing and mining. You just imagine the public sector who have started initially. Earlier they were not doing, but when they started doing, they realized this is benefiting them, because now they are feeling that now community is helping us. Earlier there were a lot of resilience, but now they are helping, they are getting support from the community, because NGOs are working in and around their facility, and they are creating an environment where trust is developing, and companies are feeling more sustainable in that area. So it's a tool to engage their stakeholder, and it's a very good step from the government side, and corporates are also taking now it is as positive.
Fantastic, thank you. Vinod, now you can come from the generics to the particular. You were with the SBI Foundation, later you were working with another private sector company. Tell us a little bit about your experiences, quickly.
See, I was a banker for about 35 years. Initially for the first 30 years, I was a banker doing regular banking. And then we had a chairman, Mrs. Arundhati Bhattacharya. She was heading SBI Capital Markets, where I was a senior leader there. Suddenly, when she became chairman, the first order was mine to call me to Mumbai to head CSR. And, I got...
You've been thoroughly surprised by that.
Surprised. I'll tell you, not only me, but my friends. that what did you do to her that she's so angry with you and she has shifted you to CSR from the capital markets. So anyway, I went there because I didn't have a choice. First few days, of course, the first NGO I met there in Mumbai was basically taking care of girl child who had some, what I call it, ability unlimited, some deficiencies. So I went there and my heart broke. I said, now this is the field that I should have been even earlier. And then, of course, in State Bank, we created the SBI Foundation, the first Section 8 company in the NBFC sector. But some of the important sectors in which I think, and very rightly it is mentioned in Section 7 of the Act, are education, skill development, and which leads to employment and entrepreneurship. I think this is one of the most important things that I think all the corporates should do, and they are doing, not that they are not doing. Because in a lot of villages, agriculture is the main thing. What are the children doing? They are not doing anything much. So I think if they get educated and they are skilled, they will probably get employment in the cities, or they can even start their own small entrepreneurship. I remember there's a place called Bhadla in somewhere far away from Jodhpur, where we have the largest solar park in the world, in the country, and I think second largest in the world. So I went there and I was working with some solar companies. So since my company was working in the solar sector, so I saw, young children, young youth, just moving around in motorcycles, playing and doing nothing. So I talked to the village panchayat. I told them, what do they do? They said some have passed 3rd, 4th, 5th standard, 6th standard, 7th standard or something. But beyond that, they don't want to do anything. So we started a small CSR skill development project on the program on the solar sector. Because that is a solar park. So you have to install the solar panels. You have to maintain the solar panels. You have to clean the solar panels. So we did a 1-month skill development program for the youth there. And mind you, out of the we did it for about 50 youth. Almost 25 got employment in the solar sector there. And some of them started their own work. In the sense, somewhere there is a solar panel, they will go and do and clean it and all that. So these are the things. I think skill development is one of the very important issues as far as CSR is concerned.
Thank you so much, Vinod. Turning to you, Nikhil, you worked amazingly in some of the most challenging areas of this country.
Yeah.
How do you see CSR coming along in those remote areas?
Absolutely, sir. And I was just reading the caption once again, importance of CSR in building the nation. So what once we came to know about the law and we had rolled it out and I came out of IIC, so I'm also part of this NGO REACHA, which is more than 30 years old. We thought that we have to use CSR as a surgical strike, Balakot surgical strike, because the 2% is very less. It has to be a catalyst. So in REACHA, what we do, sir, is we are led by women. So like the G20 is talking about women-led development. So we are also focusing not just as beneficiaries for women, but it is led by women also. We are doing some very fundamental programs in Baramulla and Kupwara, two of the most difficult geographies in the country, which were infested with militancy. In fact, militancy began in the 1990s in Kupwara. And Baramulla was known for, if you remember, Burhan Wani, and this was in June 2016-17. We are working very closely with the Indian Army over there. There is the 19th Artillery Brigade in Baramulla and the 41 Rashtriya Rifles Maratha Light Infantry. So we have worked very closely with the government in the form of the Indian Army when you talked about the triangle. So what I have attempted, sir, in the last 6-7 years after my stint in the IIC is to put the law on the ground. And I have myself been on the ground about 60 times. I have visited Kashmir in the last 5 years, about 50 to 60 times. And this covered COVID, this covered Burhan Wani, this covered abrogation of 370. And I'm finding that today in Kashmir, if you land in Srinagar, it is full of, it used to be full of militants earlier, it is now full of tourists. And if you go to Lolab Valley, you go to new destination tourism locations. So I'm finding, sir, that if you use CSR strategically, and I call my team members all, because we've learned a lot from the Indian Army, the CSR program managers have to be commando. It has to be a commando operation. You can generate high impact if you work like the commandos. You have to be black cats. You figure out the problem, you have a vehicle which is your NGO, it has to be a MiG or a Sukhoi, and the Balakot is there, you have to do a surgical strike and then come out of it. So the experience has been to work in Kashmir in very difficult terrains, to work with the Indian Army. What is the key impact has been, sir, that militancy has gone down drastically over there. The youth have now taken up to skilling. We are supported by ONGC, GenPact, IIFL Foundation. Some of these corporates have come forward. Interestingly, sir, another thing that I have deployed is that all my funders and all my staff are all my students.
Fantastic.
So I have also tried to develop an ecosystem where the person who's funding me is also my student and the people who are working with me are also my students, courtesy your inspiration when you said that CSR, you have to develop a cadre of CSR professionals. So many of those professionals turned out to be my funders and many of them, and all of them are my staff also, sir.
Yeah, so that takes me to the fact that, Nikhil working in some of the most challenging environments in this country. Yes, I remember that in 2014-15, if you were to hire somebody for CSR, who would you hire? If you want to hire a finance person, you would go for an MBA finance or a chartered accountant. You want to hire somebody in HR, you would go to an MBA HR. What's the qualification you put for somebody in CSR? There were no CSR professionals then. And we started the first certified course for CSR professionals in the IICA back in 2015. That was the first batch. So now, of course, if you look out for CSR professionals, you'll find so many of them. Geetanjali, you've now head up in Kyndryl the CSR segment of a private sector. And what are you doing to see that our development agenda is taken forward?
If somebody will ask me, like in 15 years, now what you have achieved is like, I would say, somehow now I'm realizing that I was actually lucky to be at the right place at right time. Thank you, Gaur, and of course, thanks to right mentor, Guru. I was working on policy side, and then now I'm realizing how meaningful it was. Because now we are working very closely with the communities. At Kyndryl, the thematic areas are kind of supporting the development-centric agenda of the country. We are focusing on future-forward education, climate action, and financial inclusion. All these three elements or three thematic areas were very well kind of covered in Schedule 7 also. We are focusing on them, and they are very well covered under G20 also. I'm learning from the communities, the ladies with whom we are working. Kyndryl is supporting training, a cybersecurity training of nearly 1 lakh women in a span of 3 years. And trust me, when I thought of interacting with these women for the first time, I thought, okay, they are rural-based women. Let me understand how they are working, whether they will be able to understand what this what these digital platforms are all about. What about this new virtual money? Okay, this era is all about virtual money. We don't carry anything in our wallet, right? Entire money is in some virtual space. So when I started my interaction with them, trust me, I was surprised. We are dealing with all village-level entrepreneurs, all are women, self-help group members, bank correspondents. They are working and operating from very remote rural areas, but they know the system very well. They just wanted some hand-holding, because now they are also using these e-commerce platforms and like Paytm and Google Pay. And I think everybody knows that these days so many cyber crimes and these hackers are very active. So this Cyber Raksha course is like a 6-hour course for them, just to make them understand that how they can use these platforms in a much better way and how they can be more cyber aware. So that's what we are doing. But trust me, it is more of, when it comes to CSR space, the best part is whether you start from the policy side and you go to NGO or you go to a corporate, it is more about mutual learning. And the kind of satisfaction you get, I don't think so. I mean, I'm not saying that people who are working in other sectors, they are not getting that kind of satisfaction. But yes, it is all about a satisfaction plus learning throughout life. So at times you will be sitting on one side of the table, policy side, government side, regulation side, at times working with some NGO, and at times with a corporate. But the best part is we are contributing for a big cause in a massive way. So this is what I'm doing.
Very
Thank
nice,
you.
Very nice, Geetanjali. Beautifully put. Priti, you belong to that organization which is the single biggest spender. You and ONGC were contributing more or less equally about 3 years back. But after the oil sector was sort of, more or less went into,
Yes.
not bust, but, a sort of depression, you guys spent the maximum in this entire country. What does it mean to you to belong to that organization whose very core is about giving back to society?
So, sir, I have best of both worlds, and I'll talk about it. I've been an advocacy person for last 38 years. Out of which 26 years I've been with Reliance, and for Reliance Foundation, which is a CSR arm, I'm just a mentor because I'm regulatory and advocacy in Delhi. So, but I was not satisfied. Being students of Nikhil and you, I've always believed dil mange more. So for last 30 years, I have volunteered with an NGO called Navratan Foundations in Noida. And I said, as part of my individual responsibility, social responsibility, whatever I'm learning, I can't contribute what Reliance Foundation is doing in big scale. But as an individual, I can become a role model for a lot of professionals to give back to society. So we have got 35, Navratan Foundation has got 35 basic skill training centers on tailoring and stitching. It's a 6 months course because we believe that, women empowerment is more if we can give them financial inclusion and freedom. This led us to educate them because once they've learned, they were not educated, they couldn't sign, they couldn't open bank accounts. So that automatically led to, linking them to Aadhaar and government. So learning from what Nikhil has taught me is that, once you adopt a community or a project, it doesn't end. So the goal was to make them financially independent and teach them some skill. But the relationship continued. Then once we taught them, they said, you teach our kids also. So then we went to child education. Then they said, we have health issues. So I didn't do anything what I've learned, and it's a big learning at the ground level that, once you adopt them, you are never free. You have to cater to their requirement. And that's what, when I go back to Reliance, I just give them case studies that corporates should work at the grassroots level. They should not come with a vision. They said, okay, we have the money, you tell me what you need. People at the grassroots level will tell you. That's what Navratan told me. So we run a, and then recently, last year, we started some computer centers in the government small schools. And in the evening, the community, the villagers come, and 70% are women. And my youngest student is an 82-year woman who said, I want to be at par with my grandchild. So that's a kind of motivation. And it's a motivation not for me, for professionals. And I tell everybody, if anybody is following me on LinkedIn, always say that, okay, your company may be doing a great job, but what are you doing? What have you learned from your corporate mission? As an individual, as professionals, because we understand regulation, we understand funding, we should do something. Then I always wanted to work on mental health, and on my 60th birthday, sir, I've gifted myself an initiative which I've started, Daya Rani. It's a tribute to my parents, where I'm spreading a lot of awareness and research on self-healing and mental health.
Fantastic.
So
Fantastic.
Reliance and my individual vision, I try to combine, and that's my message for the professional, that CSR should not end at the corporate and the NGOs. It
Very
should be
nice,
a way of
Priti.
life.
Very, very nice.
Thank you.
Uh, Vivek, turning to you, you've been, as you said, in the CSR field for more than a quarter of a century. How has Jubilant as an organization helped you to fulfill some of your inner urges in giving back to society?
Actually, if you are in the field of CSR, certainly you are the happiest person in the organization because you are getting opportunity, but you are giving. But you are giving opportunity to the yeah. So organizations also to become happy. That is the important thing. And when coming to Jubilant or wherever I worked, so I believe in empowering the stakeholder or community. So starting from our own. So I think in this hall at least 5-6 CSR heads are there who have worked with me prior to CSR Act and after CSR Act also. So there are few colleagues, I know them. We are interacting. They are also head of CSR since last 12 or 20 years also. So it means there are professionals. They are working for themselves. They are working for the organization. They are working for the country also. Because whenever we are interacting, we are always discussing how we can do something better for the society. So in the previous presentation, it was, in fact, he mentioned that through CSR, we are doing either replication of the project or we are supplementing or we have opportunity of innovation also. Same way in Jubilant also, most of the project, either you take up either in health or education or livelihood, it's a supplement to the government program because you are not doing new. You are just, because if there is a school, building is there, but there is no infrastructure, there is no teacher, there is no educational aid, you are supporting it, it means you are supplementing the education system. But you are not doing any innovation in that. But again, as you are growing, sometimes your fund is also growing. So like big organization, like Jubilant is not a very big group, but still we are trying to do something innovative also and create institutions. So this is also the responsibility of corporate to create some institution which can deliver benefit to the society in the longer run. So you name any big cancer hospital in this country, Tata has given. Terry, Tata has given. TIS, Tata has given. It means it was not considered as CSR, but they created it for the benefit of the society. Same way, we also believe that we should also do something in that manner. Recently, like when our fund grows, immediately I proposed to the government, to our CSR committee, that we should support, like we are into life sciences business also. So why not to partner with Ministry of Biotechnology and give some fund to innovators or entrepreneurs who are doing some innovation, because that will create lot of impact. Because everything we can't do. There are multiple talent available in the society. So they can come on board and they can do some innovation. So it is required to do some innovation also, that we are also doing. But not in a big way, a small way. But as we are growing, certainly that portion, that proportion of innovation will increase. So
all of life's big journeys start with these small steps.
Yeah.
It's fantastic, fantastic. So I think we've tried to stay with the time, and I'll be happy if there are a couple of questions that we can take on board. Anyone would like to please give your name and yes, go ahead. Just give him a mic, please, and if you are addressing your question at any particular member of the panel, please say so. If you are not, then one of us will try our best to answer. Can we take a mic there, please? Yeah, go ahead. Yeah.
Hello everyone, my name is Ashwani Dudeja. Am I audible to all of you? Yes?
Yes, absolutely.
Thank you. So I appreciate all of you for such a nice support, and I appreciate SMX team as well. Thank you. So my question is for Vivek Prakash sir from Jubilant. I appreciate what you said, that we have a lot of people in society who are working for, social impact as a social entrepreneur. So I'm working as a social entrepreneur. I'll not advertise myself obviously, but my question is that how to get the grant funds for social entrepreneurs. Because obviously social entrepreneurs will get the grant funds from where? From corporates.
Yeah, so Vivek.
So it's a good question. So you take my number, my contact number. So it's not necessary that all grants will come from CSR funding. There are some impact investors who are funding to social entrepreneurs. We are also going to establish such incubation centers. Certainly, we can also consider your case. But there are many impact investors. So you come to our website, that is Jubilant Bhartiya Foundation, and you can go, you can see the details. And offline we can discuss all
Yeah, for
this.
example, my
All right,
project
no,
is
no, that's the
also-
end of that question. Next one, please.
yeah.
Mic there. Mic there, yeah. No supplementaries. You receive your answer and move on to the
Good
next
afternoon,
question.
sir.
All right, yes, please, go ahead.
Good afternoon, sir. My name is Yash Tanwar, and sir, my question is कि जब भी एंटरप्रेन्योरशिप की बात की जाती है स्टार्टिंग की, तो बहुत सारी हमें जो है गवर्नमेंट मतलब जो एडमिनिस्ट्रेटिव प्रॉब्लम सॉल्व मतलब फेस करनी पड़ती है, जैसे कि कोई हमें अपनी शॉप्स या कोई ओपन करनी है तो उसके लिए लाइसेंस की प्रॉब्लम एंड एमसीडी से मतलब जो परमिट वगैरह उसकी प्रॉब्लम्स, ये सब बहुत ज़्यादा फेस करना होता है सर. तो एंटरप्रेन्योरशिप हम कह तो देते हैं कि हमें एंटरप्रेन्योरशिप करना चाहिए, बनना चाहिए, पर जो उनके लिए ये सारी प्रॉब्लम्स, ये सारी जो एक तरीके से लॉ बने हुए
मैं
हैं,
समझ गया, आपका प्रश्न मुझे समझ आ गया है.
तो इसमें
इसमें बेसिक प्रॉब्लम, बेसिक जो सोल्यूशन इसका है कि जहाँ पे आप एंटरप्रेन्योरशिप की ट्रेनिंग ले रहे हैं, जिस एनजीओ से या जिस कॉर्पोरेट एंटिटी से आप ले रहे हो, नॉर्मली आज के दिन में वो हैंड होल्डिंग करते हैं. सिर्फ एंटरप्रेन्योरशिप डेवलपमेंट ही नहीं होता या स्किल डेवलपमेंट भी नहीं होता. बहुत सारे ऐसे ऑर्गेनाइजेशंस हैं जो आपको फिर हैंड होल्ड करते हैं, आपका इंक्यूबेशन पीरियड वो सुपरवाइज करते हैं या दूसरे ऑर्गेनाइजेशंस के साथ आपको जोड़ देते हैं, फिनेंसिंग एवेन्यूज़ वो आइडेंटिफाई करते हैं. तो मेरी सलाह आपको ये होगी कि आप एक ऐसे ऑर्गेनाइजेशन से जुड़ जाएं जहाँ पे ये जो पहला जो पीरियड, जो पेनफुल पीरियड होता है, उसमें आपको हैंड होल्डिंग मिले. नेक्स्ट क्वेश्चन, यस प्लीज. यहाँ पे ऐसे काफ़ी ऑर्गेनाइजेशंस इसी कमरे में बैठे हैं, उनके साथ थोड़ी वार्तालाप कर लें आप. यस.
Yeah, good afternoon. My question to ma'am from Reliance. Okay, I'm ex-Reliance.
Okay.
I was in RCP.
Ji.
Okay, in Navi Mumbai. I was with Reliance Jio. I went from Delhi to Reliance. I had to put my son in to school.
Can you come to the question, please? We're running out
Yes,
of time.
yes. I went to Reliance Foundation School.
Ji.
Okay. And in Koparkarane. Okay. There, I was a little bit surprised. The fees, etc., was right at par with the market. I was confused. This Reliance Foundation, CSR, and the fee structure. I got confused. What is this Reliance Foundation all about? Though being part of Reliance,
Okay.
I know what Reliance Foundation
we've
does.
got your question.
Right.
Go ahead.
I think I should speak to him offline because this is not a CSR question.
Exactly.
It's very specific, but please, after this panel, during lunch, please contact me. I'll answer that.
But
Ma'am,
let me-
I put my son in another school.
Yeah,
It's
hang
over.
on, hang on.
Okay.
Thank
That
you.
part is all right. Remember one thing, as every single CSR practitioner knows, if the school is charging a fee, it is not CSR. It cannot be shown as a CSR activity. Unless the fees are for EWS children, and if at all they are collected, they must be plowed back into that school only for the development of that project. Otherwise, it cannot be classified as a CSR activity. That is the rule.
Yeah.
Whether you follow it, otherwise that's your. Okay, last question, please. Yeah. Yes, gentleman in the beard.
There are certain things which has been told that all these corporates, when they came in 2014, they are working for their own cause to further their cause. Mike, there are 2-3 questions. Is
No,
it
no, no,
not?
please. One question.
It cannot be the same
in
question
two
as
sentences,
Mr.
two
Bhattacharya,
sentences.
Dr.
Quick.
Bhattacharya. There are 2-3 questions which are
It's a
interconnected.
question.
Yeah,
Not-
it
not
is
necessarily-
interconnected first.
Yeah.
As soon as you go to further your own cost business, it gives you a very limited scope to work in that direction. If it is not furthering your business, means you are not into a CSR1.
See, this is
Number
a state-
two.
No, no, hang on, hang on.
Number
This
two.
is a statement.
It is not a statement, it's a question.
No, let's frame it as a question. What is the
Dr.
question?
Bhattacharya, why these corporates are furthering their own business? Number one.
Okay.
Number two, by furthering their own businesses, they are diluted the CSR activities. Number three, the stakeholders who are there, they are actually very few. What example has been given from REACHA, very rare of the things. Actually, those are, I'll give you example, Unilever.
I've got you.
Just a minute.
The answer to that
Unilever,
question is
Unilever is giving
The answer
water
is-
purifier
no, hang
to
on.
further
The
their
answer
sales.
to that is very
Dabur is
simple.
giving the drinks to
We
further
are
their sales.
building the
Parle-G is
CSR
giving
strategy
biscuits to further their
into
sales.
the business strategy of the corporation. Now, what is happening today is, and unfortunately you're out of sync there, companies, when they come on board on CSR, often strategize CSR, as Priti rightly said, into the business strategy of the company. And there is nothing wrong with that. The whole point is this, and Priti, you can elaborate on this.
Yeah,
How you internalize the message of CSR in your give back.
Today, the word is sustainable business. I'll give you example from my company. We have a refinery in Jamnagar. It's a business. We are the largest producers of PET, which means the reverse side is that so much of plastic is generated by Reliance. We are recycling it 100% and making a lot of materials. It's all on the website. We're making wood materials. We're doing in clothing. So even corporates realize that, they have to make their businesses sustainable, even if there's something which is again the SDG rules or harming the environment. Your business strategy should be that you come out with an activity that you recycle and put it back. This is just one example, and a lot of corporates are doing a lot of work. So today, nobody's thinking of that just 2% CSR. Right in the beginning, they put this sustainable strategy as part of their business. And we can talk offline, as I
Right,
said.
Priti, very
We
well
are
put.
here to
so
answer.
that brings us to
Yeah.
the end of this session. I think it's been very, very contributory. I must thank every member of the
Thank you,
panel
sir. Yeah.
for giving us your perspectives. Thank you very much. We bring this session to an end.
Hello. I request everyone to please stay here. Hello. Hello. Yes. So thank you so much for this wonderful panel discussion, for shedding light on the importance of CSR in building the nation. I would like to add one thing, like sir said about Indian Armed Forces, like 19 Artillery, Rashtriya Rifles, and Black Cat Commandos. I personally think that the way they are disciplined, if we could like execute and implement the things in the society, definitely we are going to come with the best output. And army is firm on the belief. Army is firm on the belief that army is not a profession or a job or a task of money making. It is a way of life. And rightly, ma'am said that we should, like ma'am, you said we should build CSR as a way of life. So that really had a great impact. Thank you so much, ma'am, for this. I would request Dr. Priti Pande, ma'am, to come here to felicitate our guest.